From 1900 until today, or let's say from the dawn of history until the present day, humanity has gone through three massive financial crises. Of course, these are the ones we know about, and their impact was incredibly huge. But the question is, how did these crises happen? Don't worry, set that question aside. I won't tire your mind with it. Our story is about different things and details. The strange thing is that you and I may have already experienced these details before. Now, I don't want you to be surprised by what I'm about to tell you, but imagine the story starts with you and ends with Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Or, to be more precise, from where you are now, from your home, you can con 8 billion people. Seriously, I'm not kidding or talking about anything supernatural. This is something possible, easy, and simple. Perhaps you, yourself watching this video, went through an experience like this but didn't understand the idea, so you rejected it. Look, I know everything I've told you is strange, unclear, and all mixed up, but trust me, what you're about to see is not a normal video. What you're about to see is a story that will make you slap your forehead and say, "What did I miss out on? I wish I were like Bernard Madoff." The man who, from just one idea, managed to collect $66 billion. This person implemented a single idea called the Ponzi Scheme. You might think the subject is complicated, involving figures and calculations. But no, my friend. In this video, I will show you why the entire world goes bankrupt in an instant, and what the butterfly effect is, how global financial crises begin, and the most important idea, I will tell you how to build a fortune, how to succeed, continue, and become a global figure. There is one thing I won't be able to answer: what you should do and where to run when you're exposed. This video is something new. The story in it consists of dozens of stories, so we need to focus. Please like this video because it is very powerful. Now, everything I said in the introduction, put it aside. Let me tell you about a successful businessman named Bernard Madoff. On April 29, 1938, Bernard Madoff was born in New York State, USA. Aside from his life story and the details he went through, as a person he was very successful. He worked in the financial markets and the stock exchange from a young age. He rose through the ranks, starting as a small employee, until he became the CEO of multiple companies. What distinguished Madoff from other investors was his ability to persuade and his passion for the financial markets and the stock exchange. You could say Madoff was one of those driven by passion, someone who loved what he did and did what he loved. He was obsessed with the stock market, spending hours in front of screens analyzing, reading lists, and following the news. The result was thousands of dollars for him and all the clients who worked with him. One of the things Madoff did, which you should remember and work on from today, is that he saved $500. Relying on his skills, he grew and developed this amount until he had a modest fortune. When we talk about a modest fortune on Wall Street, we are talking about a few $1,000,000. Investing is something very important in everyone's life. Madoff was not only concerned with his direct fortune or job. Madoff had suspicious dealings that no one knew about. From the time he was a small employee until he became CEO, he was working as an employee within a financial investment company. He was always just an employee. Therefore, he worked according to the rules and regulations of the company he was employed by. The company determined the clients, how they were dealt with, and how payments and transfers were made between them and the clients. This was not up to them. It was imposed by the American administration. Madoff, with his cleverness, discovered a new line that no one knew about, or let's say everyone knew about, but no one dared to approach: moving suspicious money. For example, how much money does El Chapo have? How much money did Pablo Escobar have and Manzur Alcázar? The important thing I want you to know is that the source of these people's money comes from illegal activities. Since this money is dirty and against the law, it usually cannot be channeled through a single path. New and different methods are needed to launder and clean it. One of these methods is the American Stock Exchange. Most of these people tried to enter this market. The profits there are somewhat guaranteed. The market is clear, not mysterious, stable, and global. No major surprises are expected. And most importantly, there are dozens of legal loopholes. These loopholes help you evade taxes and, at the same time, launder your illicit money and turn it into something legitimate. Legitimate not from a religious standpoint, but from a legal one, to make it clean money. For example, they record on paper that someone is investing $100,000. He invests it over a full year. Miraculously, the $100,000 profits and becomes $4 million. The job of this ingenious person is to bring evidence and documents to confirm that everything went correctly. He brings papers showing that the operations are clear and that you genuinely made a profit. Everything is legitimate, guaranteed, and on the right track, and the $100,000 made a profit and became $4 million. We transferred it from suspicious money that no one knew about to something systematic and sound, showing where it came from. The world today operates on the very same method as Ponzi. The bank, what does it do with your money? When you deposit $100,000, it invests the money for you in return for a fixed percentage, let's say 4% per month. Of course, this is usury and forbidden, but we are explaining the principle and the idea generally. The bank uses this money, keeping it for a certain period of time to use it in the projects it is involved in. Of course, people are depositing and withdrawing from the bank here, and the bank does indeed accommodate everyone. Why? Because the money people withdraw from the bank only constitutes 10% of the total value of everything in the bank. But suppose everyone goes to withdraw their money at once. What will happen then? The bank will go bankrupt. And this is what happens in financial crises. Ponzi took the money and started giving people profits. That is, he had $1 billion, but the profits he was distributing periodically to people did not exceed $50 million, so he was always safe. But when everyone rushed to him and said, "We want our money back in full," he was exposed. Pyramid marketing literally starts with you and reaches Trump and Putin. Why? Its principle is very sweet and simple. It tells you, you give me $10 and I'll give you a gift watch. The value of this watch doesn't exceed $2. Then I tell you, for every customer you bring who buys a watch, you will take a commission. And if that person brings another customer, you will also take a commission on them. Everyone in your pyramid network who brings a customer, you will also take a profit from them. That is, you will have a whole tribe, and you will take profits on all of them. But did you know, my friend, that if you were the first person to buy the watch and pay the $10, let's say you brought 5 of your friends to buy the watch and be part of your network, did you know that after just 15 iterations, the number of customers coming from your network will be 12 billion people? What? Yes, you heard correctly. Only 15 iterations on 5 people who started with you in the network. Only 15 iterations will result in 12 billion people in your network. Try and calculate it. It's a simple equation. This principle is called combinations and permutations, a hierarchical series that starts with you and keeps growing until we reach Trump. The problem is that we won't just reach Trump. The problem is that we will be broken at 4 million people because all of humanity won't be enough. So what will we do? We'll go up to Saturn? We'll bring 4 billion from there? This scam is worthless. And the introduction I gave you at the beginning of the video was intentional. Why? Because this is the script you hear when someone tells you about pyramid marketing, a snare to trap you. Imagine that even today, people fall for this talk. Madoff combined all these things together at once. Now, focus with me to understand what he did, because he was a visible demon in human form. Madoff started losing when he began marketing, as I told you. He had a fortune and money at first. When the market began to decline, he started buying the shares from his clients at a profit. Here, Madoff's name became like gold on Wall Street. The whole market was losing, and everyone was going bankrupt, except Madoff, who was giving profits. Therefore, everyone rushed to invest with him. Indeed, everyone went to Madoff. "Oh, Madoff, we want to put our money with you." Here, Madoff applied the Ponzi scheme. "Your money is safe with me for a full year. During this year, I will give you 30% profits. That is, if you want to work with me, you must leave your money with me for a full year. I will give you 30% profits after a year." And, my friend, the whole world fell for the trick. He started with one client and ended up with 450,000 investors. Imagine the number. Madoff's job was to take from one person's pocket and put it in another's. A simple shell game. For example, if each of the 450,000 investors invested $1,000 with him, he would have $450 million, almost $500 million. What would he give them? 30% of the amount, taking from here and putting there. The matter grew and spread, and Madoff's fame crossed the globe. Did he stop here? No. He started offering investors investment methods to increase the percentage of profits. He became an absolute scoundrel. The profits were real. Everyone who wanted profits from their money took them immediately. The situation was never stalled. If someone wanted to take back all the $100,000 they put in, he had no problem. Why? Because there were 100 others coming to put in $100,000 and invest with him. Imagine Madoff had an acceptance test. If you wanted to go crazy and put your $100,000 with him for him to invest, he would test you to accept you. This made his reputation grow even more. In 1980, he became a member of the board of directors of the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, which is the largest stock exchange in the world. Madoff became its main controller. The strange and incomprehensible thing is that you are talking about a story the whole world knew and went through. Everything was happening in the presence of the strongest and richest governments in the world. Imagine that the world's governments invested with him. Spain, Holland, Switzerland, France, and even the U.S. Federal Reserve. So, were all these people stupid, and did the story work on them? Do you remember when I told you Madoff was a genius? Do you remember when I told you his primary job was to launder your money? You must think in a way that he, as a master money launderer, naturally could launder his company's money. It's natural that he could present documents that everything he was doing was sound and legal. Add to this that he had connections with the tycoons of the weapons and forbidden materials industries. The man was protected by a network of legal connections and, at the same time, a network of suspicious connections. Anyone who tried to corner him, compete with him, or investigate him would disappear. When a journalist would publish that Madoff was a fraud, you wouldn't know how, but after 2 days that same journalist would come back and say, "I was wrong." Imagine that in 2004, the International Monetary Fund examined all of Madoff's documents. The examination happened in stages. After 4 months of investigation, the International Monetary Fund itself confirmed that Madoff's companies were above suspicion. The man was 100% sound. How much did Madoff's wealth become? $65 billion. He had a financial empire. Now I want you to remember one thing only. Do you remember when I told you at the beginning of the video, I can tell you what to do to have billions, but the only thing I cannot tell you is what to do when you get exposed. This is what happened to Madoff. Madoff was exposed just like a bank is exposed when it goes bankrupt. In 2008, the Great Recession occurred, the most severe financial crisis to ever hit the planet. As usual, Madoff said, "No one be afraid, we are safe," and he started giving profits. He expected the same thing that happened in the previous crisis to happen. Everyone would rush to him and invest more. But this time, the crisis was massive, and most American banks went bankrupt. Therefore, a large percentage of people started saying, "I don't want to take risks. I don't want profits or anything. Give me my money so I can keep it myself. I don't want anything from you." A large number of people went to Madoff, and exactly what happened to Ponzi happened to him. At first, the situation was under control, but it was clear that Madoff was stumbling in payments. Then the press leaked the news that Madoff was stumbling. The matter became serious. Attention, people. Anyone who has something with him should go and get it. At that moment, the whole world attacked him. Everyone wanted their money, and they all wanted their cash in one day. Madoff declared bankruptcy. Imagine that in one moment, $65 billion turned into a mirage. Imagine that everyone who worked with Madoff, from his children to his smallest employee, none of them knew Madoff was a fraud. Imagine that the head of the French Reserve Bank had invested $1.5 billion with Madoff. After Madoff was exposed, the bank manager ended his life. And not just him, 36 people ended their lives in the first week alone. Madoff turned from a genius investor into the cause of death for hundreds of people. And of course, like every story, the man was imprisoned and tried. As for the money, it's gone. No one got a single penny. Madoff did all of this because he applied a silly trick that we have encountered many times. Investing is something very important in a person's life, but it must be real, official, and documented. Never believe in fixed and huge profits. Never believe that there is an investment that skyrockets in 1 month. And most importantly, always remember what I told you. When someone sits with you and talks to you about pyramid marketing, immediately remove your shoe and deal with them. The introduction to this video was strange. I intended it to be that way. I wanted you to see how you could be deceived because you trusted me. You thought, he is a respectable man. He surely won't deceive me. But no, I want you to always be aware. When it comes to investing, don't trust anyone. Ask, research, and look around. And in the end, you decide. No matter how much the person in front of you loves you and is dear to you, ask and look behind them, so you don't end up like Madoff's victims. That was our story for today. I hope you liked it. Tell me in the comments, has anyone ever presented the topic of pyramid marketing to you? Please tell me and write in the comments how they started convincing you of that subject. I will see all your comments. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.